and welcome back to Shadow of the Apple, episode 29. So today we welcome you back. Thank you all guys for coming for another episode of Shadow of the Apple. Today we're going to be recapping this last weekend series with the Mets getting it done against the Nationals, three straight games as a sweep. And now they're only 10 and a half games out of third wild card spot. But when you consider how bad they've been all year and how far they've been back all year, pretty impressive. So we're gonna talk about that, but we're also talk about the Yankees winning in extras with Ben Rice's homer to seal the deal um against the Blue Jays. So I mean, there's definitely a decent amount to cover. The AL playoff picture is really crazy right now. I believe the Orioles are currently in the last wild card spot. So I don't know if it's not the first time, but it'd be the first time in a while where four teams from the same division would make the playoffs. And honestly, I'd be happy with that just because the rest of the AL kind of sucks. So makes sense.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit last time. How the AL East is one of the most competitive divisions in the league, and yeah, the American League is a very weak league. We've talked about that a lot, but I mean, when you look at the wild card picture right now, when you ignore the records, the fact that teams under 500 have a playoff spot right now, there are a lot of teams fighting for that last spot, and I'm pretty sure yesterday there was a five-way tie. So
Yeah.
right now the Orioles do have sole possession of that last spot, though.
Yeah, it's been tossing and turning. The Tigers were in that spot for a while, but they got swept by Chicago White Sox this year, and this weekend. Um, but yeah, like I think it's been a pretty interesting. It's really been interesting to see the Mets. Honestly, I think that's what I definitely want to talk about. I guess first, because I mean it's been very surprising. I think that's just the very all of a sudden this team is playing well with while technically getting worse, even though getting rid of Freddie Peralta was actually not a worse. That guy sucks. But they lost today. I don't know if he's the reason why they lost, but they did lose another Freddie Peralta start. So even though he did win his one against the Rockies, but he just got bombed in that game. The Rays came back. But they overall like you would think the Mets wouldn't play better with getting rid of guys, especially guys who were good for them throughout the year, like Tyrone Taylor and Clay Holmes. But there's been some interesting pieces for the Mets that have been showing up. Really on the definitely on the pitching side, the starting pitching side. Our closer, our new closer, has certainly been a interesting treat to see. So yeah, like Ryan, like what is your opinion about the Mets surprisingly improving while technically getting worse?
Yeah, you've used the word surprising a few times. That's definitely what it is. I mean, we talked about it closer to the deadline after they traded away some pieces, some bullpen pieces. You got rid of Clay Holmes, who was a pretty good starter. Freddie Peralta, not so much. And then, of course, Tyrone Taylor, along with other names. But yeah, it's definitely surprising. The Mets have come out of the deadline. They've won three of their four series since then, including two sweeps of the Guardians and now the Nationals. So it's definitely surprising. And you definitely see names stepping up you wouldn't really expect so much, like Kodai Senga, who's had a really bad year, but now in the closer spot, looking pretty good with his third save today.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into that I guess at the end because I guess I will just recap the other two games. I mean, obviously today's game is the most recent, so that's going to be the most fresh in my mind. But that definitely will be a very surprise. I mean, honestly, I mean, I was very surprised that they even swept this series. I thought game one was going to be a loss for sure with Robert Stock on the mound, but he actually once again, I mean, he's got bombed against the Pirates, but overall he was good against the Marlins, and he was good against the Nationals. All things considered, I mean, other than the early run, Robert Stock was pretty good. And for a guy who's been a minor league guy pretty much his whole career, it's like I said, it's been people that you really haven't expected, guys who have been good, but now they're taking it to a whole nother level this year, which is just very surprising. But if I look at his stats, I mean, 4.1 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 runs, 5 Ks on the day. Overall, not a really bad performance when you consider the fact, especially the fact that they won and came back. So yeah, I mean, like overall, the the Mets have been just quite a story. But we're gonna get into Friday's game more in depth into Friday's game, as once again, I mean, the biggest things I think I've been with people showing up is some of the younger guys, while also getting a mix of some of the newer guys, so the older guys and the younger guys as well. Like for example, Carson Bench has played really well so far in this stretch with 2 home runs in this series. Had a home run Friday with Lindor's home run. Lindor really improving post deadline as well. Lindor with 7 home runs, 19 RBIs, and a 916 OPS since the All Star break. And I mean that's huge. I mean I think if it's something that I talked about with other people before, I've definitely mentioned that like the Mets for whatever reason really run on just how good Lindor is playing. I don't know why that seems to be the case, but when the Mets are hot, Lindor is hot.
Yeah, it feels like it's been the case since he's been on the team, honestly. Whenever he's in that lineup and raking, the team seems to be winning baseball games. I mean, he's, not the official captain, but he's pretty much the leader of that team, especially on the offensive side. So having him in there, obviously a great bat. It's definitely, yeah, it always feels like when the Mets are rolling, it's because Lindor's in there and helping out.
Yeah, absolutely. And then even with the bullpen, obviously getting worse because you traded a bunch of people. The guys that have stepped up for the Mets, the post deadline Mets bullpen. I mean, what an interesting group of guys. I mean, and they've all been pretty solid in their appearances. First, I guess we could just talk a little bit about some of the guys that we have. There's two guys I want to talk about. So the first one I really do want to talk about is New York Mets pitcher Jeffrey Yan, and for one, just a treat to watch. I don't know if you saw, but he did a whole celebration. The umpire called it a ball, and then he wasted the Mets' final challenge.
I did see that. Um, yeah, it was, I don't know. I mean, we kind of talked about this too when he first came up and he was doing that celebration. Uh, we said that, there's going to be some awkward situations with it. But while it is electric, there's gonna be some awkward situations, and this is honestly one that I didn't think of. But the ABS, him doing his whole celebration right away and not even thinking about an ABS challenge, possibly overturning anything, was
I mean,
not something. Yeah,
the thing about that though is that like just from when I watched it, it looked like a ball. He shouldn't even challenge that play. That was definitely a ball from the moment. But
yeah. A lot of teams don't like their pitchers challenging to begin with because it's really hard for them to tell because their head's moving while they're pitching, so they don't get a good shot of where the ball goes. But for this guy, he's pitching and then he's jumping straight in the air and slapping the ground, so it's much harder for him to see where the ball's going
yeah,
to.
because remember he jumped and then he made the challenge right away. So yeah, this guy is definitely gonna get memed for sure. I we should just embrace it as Met fans. That stuff like this is gonna happen. It's gonna be pretty awkward. It's gonna be funny. But hey, when Jeffrey Yan strikes out Shohei Ohtani in the 2027 NLCS to go into the ninth inning with Kodai Senga warming up, we'll be there.
No one's gonna be clowning then.
No one's gonna be clowning. No one's gonna be clowning that celebration then, bro. But back to reality. He has a 1.0 record, a 1.80 ERA, 6 strikeouts, and a 1.0 WHIP. So overall, small sample size, but he's been honestly everything that we thought he was gonna be. And when we saw him in Double A, or sorry, when we saw him in Triple A, he's been teased a lot. People have talked about him a lot, like in when he was in the minors. So he's definitely been a treat, and he's definitely been what we expected of him. So overall, I mean, what I'll talk about. I'll talk. So that's Jeffrey Yan. then the other pitcher I want to talk about who's been pretty solid for them is Daniel Durante. So overall, in his small sample size that he had, he pitched really well today on Sunday. Um, but overall, with a 1.0 record right now, currently at a 0.93 ERA, I mean that's so far so good. I mean the fact that the bullpen still has been this good, despite them having to just bring up people, it definitely shows just what strengths the Mets have had, even with eliminating those strengths by selling those people at the deadline. I guess I don't know what it is. Is it I guess is it the staff? Is it the coaching that has made the bullpen good? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a mix of all that. Definitely, I mean, both these guys were in the minors at some point, so it could be some credit to the Mets developmental, could be some credit to um, just I don't know. Honestly, I mean, yeah, I would say it's probably definitely coaching, finding the right guys too. That's a big part of it. Big part of a bullpen is knowing when to turn a guy into a reliever after they don't see what they work out as a starter. So having good bullpen pieces right there to come up help out this team, especially after trading away some big pieces from the same bullpen a few weeks ago. It obviously helps out and it's good for the team.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely agree, man, for sure. They've definitely looked a lot better in a lot of aspects. But and then on Saturday's game, we'll go into that. And we're kind of I can just kind of transition to it because Jeffrey Young did pitch in that game and actually got his first win because of that game. But Sean Manaea pitched for the Mets, and once again another solid start for Sean Manaea. Um, what do you? I don't know what if there's something I could definitely pinpoint to is his velocity and his speed have gone up again. He's definitely starting to get back what he had 2 years ago. I mean, it's crazy to think that that injury in spring training has set him far so back from his 2024 self. But now he's just starting to finally figure it out again. Um, but overall, I mean, he did pitch decently in my opinion for the Mets. I'm bringing up his stats right now for the last game, but 6.1 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 home runs, 7 strikeouts. So his strikeouts have been up. That's something I definitely want to notice. I mean, in the last game, he had like what 10 strikeouts in his last start. So his strikeout rate has definitely been up. That's definitely one of the biggest things I've noticed about Sean Manaea. And he kind of always has been a strikeout pitcher, but I've the fact that he's starting to get back into the consistency of that is definitely a really good sign.
Yeah, strikeout pitcher. Usually those are the guys who have um, an arsenal that surrounds and focuses heavily on their fastball. So, like you mentioned, with his injury and his fastball speed being up a little bit, I looked into him a little bit because we've been talking about him so much. Apparently, his fastball has gained about 4 miles per hour on average this year. So, I mean, that helps a lot, obviously. That's a huge part of why he's probably having a good year, and he's healthy, of course. It's been a little while since the injury, so he had enough time to recover and get back into being top of his game.
Yeah, yeah, you love to see it, man. You love to see it. But and I think the biggest thing about out of all these, really, I think it's crazy that the Mets were able to come back in all of these games. The Nationals had a lead in all three of these games, and the Mets came back in all of them. I mean, that definitely says a lot about a team that has struggled all year, and like you could say that they don't really have a lot to play for anymore. But the fact that they're not giving up it's definitely shown a lot of resilience, and I mean, I honestly I'm impressed because I've this team has really pissed me off. Trust me, I've explained that. I've expressed how much I've hated this team throughout the year, but right now, like they're giving me a reason to like them because they're not at least like they may not win every game. They may not win every game down the stretch or win every game they need to win down the stretch, but the fact that they're still playing like hard, I mean, it shows that this team is still not quitting despite everything. I mean,
Yeah,
what?
and
Mhm.
a big a big part of the Mets' success since the deadline that I've noticed as a I would say, a casual viewer of the Mets, because I don't really watch all the games. But it seems like they're playing much more clean baseball. It feels like whenever the Mets lose games or in a tough stretch, there's just a lot of errors, a lot of rough at bats, and it just feels like everyone on the whole roster, on the pitching side, on the hitting side, they're all playing clean baseball, smart baseball, and especially on defense. It feels like there hasn't been too many crucial errors since the deadline has come and gone and the streak has started.
Yeah, and yeah, you put it perfectly. When it rains, it pours for the Mets. You know, so that I definitely agree that they played a lot. They played some clean baseball for sure. They're hitting the offense has improved a lot for sure. There's been a lot of players that have finally stepped up, and the lineup, like the line, that's the problem is that this lineup potentially like really could have been a lot better if the right guys just figured it out earlier. But now that they're starting to figure it out, and even I'm even asking these guys to hit like 300, but you look at guys like Bo Bichette, Marcus Simeon, who have just like if you look at their stats, they've improved like a decent amount since the beginning. Because obviously, I talked a lot about in the beginning how bad they were. They had really bad stretches of the seasons.
Yeah,
So
so I mean that's obviously a huge part of it. I mean, a big part of the game is just playing smart baseball and not committing these errors and forgetting about yesterday. When you come into the next game, forget about what happened yesterday. Whether you lost big, whether you won big, it's a new game. Focus on that, and I feel like that incorporates itself into, like you said, when it rains, it pours. But right now, it's like it's the other way around. They're playing good baseball, and it's continuing and surprising. The word we keep using. That's what it's been since August 4th.
yeah, dude. And with Alvarez tying the game in the ninth and Lindor walking it off, it set them up for game three. And with a Luis Torrens home run and a Carson Bench home run, they were able to get the job done. I mean, just this game, I think Saturday's game was definitely the most impressive. They were down. They were down in the ninth inning and came back and won. But this one, I feel like definitely said a lot about the Mets too in this game because, like, you wouldn't blame the Mets for losing this third game. I wouldn't have, even with Christian Scott on the mound. You would think the Nationals are good enough offensively to at least get one game.
Yeah, they surprisingly been one of the best offenses in baseball this year. With some of the metrics and stats. So for the Mets to kind of shut them down the way they did and come back in some of these games too, and have the bullpen hold them after some comebacks is also huge.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been huge. It's definitely been huge, and the Luis Torrens home run was able to get them the lead, and it was a lead that they never lost. So they continued to play well throughout the entire game, and then when it got to the ninth inning, Kodai Senga was just nasty. Like that's probably the most nastiest, the most confident I've seen Kodai Senga in a really long time. So, but yeah, I mean, let's talk about him. I mean, just like what that I think if there's any true big surprise about this whole entire run, I think it has to be him. He has been the biggest shocker after everything that we've talked about with Kodai Senga as a starter, setting him up as a closer and just putting all his best stuff in one inning. I mean, it's worked out honestly.
Yeah, I mean, like you just said, putting all your best stuff in one inning, that's what a lot of relievers and closers specifically excel with. So to be able to do that, especially if I'm going from a starter to a closer just like that in the middle of the season, to be able to just empty the tank, put all your best stuff out there against hopefully just three hitters in the ninth inning is a huge part of it. And I think a big part of it was his ghost fork pitch, which is what he's known for. It's a big part of his success. It felt like it wasn't working as well this year when he was starting, and
Yeah,
that was hurting him. But now he gets to just throw it, and second, third time around, these hitters can see the pitch better. They know what's coming. But when he's closing, you don't have a chance to adjust to it. It's just bottom of the ninth inning, ghost forks coming at you, and you haven't seen it at all today. So that's, I think, a huge part of it too, to have his specialty pitch being able to be special again.
yeah, for sure. That is a really good point, dude. That's a really good point to make about Kodai Senga. Um, I think the problem with him is that he was like the ghost fork, like a lot of like really just wouldn't hit the strike zone a lot. Really, almost never does. So you know, like he really had to rely on not just that pitch and work on his fastball, work on other pitches that will mix up the batter. Like I think he got exposed for sure. Like I think teams kind of started getting an idea of how he was as a pitcher, and it's hurt him badly for sure. But it's turned him into a closer, I guess. So I guess it's all worked out.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's looking really good.
Yeah, and I actually do like the chances for the Mets to make it four in a row again. Um, when they have Noah McLean on the mound tomorrow against the Padres. So we'll see what happens, bro. Another one, I guess one series at a time. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if the team wants any chance to make a run late, which doesn't seem too likely, 10 games back of a playoff spot, but I mean, if they want any chance, what they're gonna have to do is take it one game at a time because there's many teams ahead of them. So they have to try and hop over.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's been a very interesting stretch so far. I'm really just curious to see how this all unfolds, especially when you consider the teams that they have to play. All right, when you look at the rest of their schedule, it's pretty hard. They have to play some tough teams. So
Yeah,
they got to play the Rays. They still have to play the White Sox. They have to play the Yankees still one more time. They do have to play some tough teams. They also got to play Philadelphia. So it's going to be interesting for sure, man. But
yeah, one game, one series, one inning at a time. That's all you can ask of this team at this point.
yeah, so that'll wrap it up for my recap of the Mets. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. Hopefully we'll get another series dub against the Padres, and I mean, if they sweep somehow, they'll only be 7.5 out.
Yeah, I mean, the Padres have one of the National League wildcard spots. That's why that makes sense. Yeah, that's true. And the Phillies have the same exact record as the Padres with the second wild card spot, which is honestly quite interesting too. The Padres started off their year pretty slow, so the fact that they've caught up, I mean, it's pretty interesting. So we'll have to see what happens there.
Yeah, but let's transition right into the next series. So obviously, Mets got a sweep, pretty fun series, fun vibes. Yankees, not really quite the same vibe.
Yeah, not really. I mean, when you look at the grand scheme of it, going into Toronto, 3 game series, um, they were, I believe, 6.5 back of the Rays coming into it, or no, they were 5.5 back coming into it, but um, now they are still 5.5 back because no, wait, I'm confusing myself here. Basically, they're 5.5 games back right now. The Rays got swept by the Orioles, so the Blue Jays only taking 2 out of 3 from the Yankees in the series is huge on the Yankees' part. Of course, you would have preferred to win the series. You would have preferred to sweep and get closer to Tampa in the East. But I guess I'll get into how the games went. We talked about game one a little bit last time.
Yeah,
Another great
interesting
start.
that interesting that the Yankees lose the two starts with Schlittler and Cole, and the Blue Jays lose their series with Dylan Cease.
Yeah, I was thinking that too earlier. That's definitely an interesting part. I mean, those are definitely three of the best pitchers. Well, three of the best pitchers in the league. Two of those guys are front runners, basically neck and neck right now for the American League Cy Young favorite. So that is definitely very interesting. But
Yeah.
yeah, we talked about game one a little bit. Great start from Garrett Cole again. He went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, but the Yankees offense couldn't do anything, which has been basically the script for a lot of the Yankees games over the last month or so. Or basically the whole year, but the last month or so when we've had all of our guys healthy on the pitching side, waiting for Carlos Rodon to come back. But Ryan Weathers just filled in really nicely. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But that same story continued on Saturday, or no, yeah, on Saturday when Cam Schlittler started, went 5 1/3, gave up only 1 run. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
sorry, yeah,
what were you saying, Ryan? I was
no,
looking
I
at.
I, I clicked on the mute button on accident. I was trying to do something else. What was that?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm looking at. So I mean, it's interesting when you consider the fact that Yankees had a lead. I mean, for they got a lead a little bit later in the game. They had the Trent Grisham home run, like you said, 16th home run for Trent Grisham this year, and they got it a little bit late in the game. The worst kind of losses are losses when you are like you've been having a lead for a decent amount of time, just for it to like get screwed up in the last inning. Because really, like it really wasn't Garrett Cole's fault that they lost. Like he was once again good, but they just didn't give him they didn't give him all the support they needed to get the win. Obviously,
Yeah, that's been the story. It's really been it for a while. You get great starting pitching most days, and your bullpen continues the pitching. Um, they give you a chance, and the offense just most of the time cannot do it. So yeah, like on Saturday when Cam had a great start, only giving up one run, and the Yankees did take the lead in the second inning on a George Lombard Jr. RBI single, but that was the only lead they would have because the Blue Jays ended up taking the game 4-1. Yankees offense was basically dead the rest of the way. Two of those RBIs came from two different hits by Charles McAdoo, who's a guy who I felt like I've watched in Double A for the last 4 years, and all of a sudden he's in the majors with two different RBI hits against the Yankees. So I mean, I guess congrats to him. That's probably a pretty cool story. I guess I got to look into a little bit,
that's dope.
but yeah. So yeah, I mean that's just another. That's just the same story with the Yankees. The offense really cannot score, and then Cam
Yeah,
Schlittler and Garrett Cole or anybody else just doing doing their thing, and the offense doesn't help.
something I wanted to talk about, actually, that was still part of the first game, was that Aaron Boone got ejected again. So
Mm,
obviously, not the first time this has happened. Probably won't be the last time this has happened. But I honestly thought about this. I can't believe we didn't think about this. I just thought about this now. We should have like kept track how many times he got ejected this year, because Aaron Boone gets ejected a lot.
yeah, that would have been a good idea. I don't know the exact number, but he's been
Let's ask
ejected.
Google. Let's
Oh yeah,
ask
he's been
Google.
ejected a lot as the Yankees manager since 2018. He's got to be up there. I mean, in the all time already, like in the top of that list somewhere.
So
But this
in this
this
season,
ejection was weird because
mhm.
the ump instigated the whole thing. It felt like, but read what you just found out.
So this year he's been ejected 4 times,
Hmm.
but it brings his career in total to 50. So he's in his
Hmm.
entire career since he's joined the Yankees as a manager, he's had 50 total ejections.
I mean, that's a lot. That's not that. He's only been the manager since the 2018 season and
Only
the
it's only
2020 season.
it's not like he's been the
I mean
manager for
that.
8 years.
Yeah, I mean that's not 50 ejections in 8 years. That's not. I mean that's definitely not rookie numbers. There's definitely guys who have that many throughout a whole career of probably 20 years. But yeah, the 2020 season being shortened as well. I can't imagine he got ejected much in that season when everyone was social distancing with masks on. Can't imagine he got in many umpires' faces that year. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. And this one was really interesting too. I feel like all of his ejections were unique. The umpire kind of instigated it. He took his mask off, paused, looked into the Yankees dugout, and said, "What was that? I didn't hear you." And then Boone repeated himself, then got ejected. Um, that's a little weird. I've never seen that before.
Yeah. Why are umpires so sensitive, man? Some
That's a
umpires,
good question. Some of them, I feel like a lot of them are very. I feel like sometimes they want to be the center of attention, but no one goes to the ballpark to watch the umpires. That's just not. No one's done that.
yeah, they just call the strikes and balls.
Yeah,
Like they're there to do their job. They shouldn't make they shouldn't they shouldn't like alter a game, or like affect the game. That's why we have ABS. But obviously
mhm.
with things like that, you can't really do anything about that unless we there's a better umpire out there.
Yeah. I mean that they're gonna have their jobs replaced. It feels like pretty soon with most balls and strikes being called automatically. We definitely still need a human element with umpires behind the plate and at the corners, calling fair foul, safe out. There's a bunch of that. That's actually a good conversation to have maybe during the off season at some point, or maybe next season when we might not have baseball for a little bit. But yeah, umpires are interesting guys and girls. There's some of those now. But we'll get into Sunday's game, today's game. The one game the Yankees did take. This was Ryan Weathers versus Dylan Cease. Felt like the Yankees were about to get swept. Uh, but Ryan Weathers went out there. He outdueled Dylan Cease, which was really nice to see. He went seven in the third, only giving up one run. The Yankees did take a lead in the third on a Luis Garcia Jr. sac fly. And then the bottom of the fifth, Blue Jays tied it again with an RBI double. Top of the seventh, Jose Caballero hit an RBI single. That scored George Lombard Jr., put the Yankees on top again. That was an interesting play. Not Lombard. Caballero kind of got into a rundown, and he tried to let the other runner on base, Jazz Chisholm, have enough time to score. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but it was a heads-up play, which was great to see, especially with a Yankees team that has had so many base running errors that has cost them in so many different innings this year. It's nice to see that happen. Um, and then the Yankees did lose that lead again, though. Ernie Clement hit a sac fly in the ninth. But then the top of the 10th, Ben Rice, his 33rd home run of the year, scored himself along with a ghost runner, put the Yankees up 4-2. That ball was crushed, 438, 108.5 off the bat. And then Tim Hill did allow the additional runner to score, but he closed it out in the bottom of the 10th, third save of the year. So the Yankees had salvaged the series on the last day, and thankfully the Rays finally lost some games, getting swept in Baltimore. So
Well,
you would have
nah,
loved.
it's a 4 game series, so they haven't
Oh,
got
it's four
swept
game
yet.
series.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, hopefully they lose again tomorrow. But I mean, yeah, it's still either way. The Rays did lose three in a row, and you had a chance to gain more games on them, and you weren't able to. But at the end of the day, the Yankees are 5.5 back. The Rays are showing that they're not invincible, and the Yankees, they're not really showing much besides good pitching and really inconsistent and rough offense. But we'll hope that
Yeah,
steps it up.
the offense is fortunately, I think at this point it's going to be what it is until the other guys get back, like Bellinger and Stan and
Mm-hmm.
Judge. Those are your biggest bats. Those are like your guys that could really make or break a game. Could really open the scoring. Uh, so you don't have those guys. It's very hard to adjust because it's like who else is going to hit. And I mean, we did talk a little bit about Ben Rice and how poorly he actually has been playing, and now he
Mm-hmm.
finally really answers back with that home run.
Yeah, I mean that was a huge home run. The Yankees have been really bad in extra innings this season, but since the rule with the ghost runners has come into play, the Yankees have been pretty much the worst team in the league playing extra inning games on the road. So it really felt like the Yankees kind of the offense did a little bit against Dylan Cease, and the pitching gave them a chance, but it felt like they were still going to extra innings. They were still going to lose somehow. But yeah, that was a huge shot by Ben Rice. He's done that a few times in Toronto already in his career. So you hope that that's a swing that can help him get out of this slump. Pretty long, extended, brutal slump. But I think a big part, or a big thing that'll help him continue to play well and hopefully get out of this, is that it looks like this weekend we could be seeing Cody Bellinger back in the Yankees lineup. I'm pretty sure the team announced, or Aaron Boone announced, that on Tuesday and Thursday he'll play some rehab games, and he should be back in there with the Yankees this weekend. So that's huge. Honestly, earlier than I had expected. So it'll be really interesting to see if that plan goes the way it's hoped. And that's a huge piece to add back into this lineup.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. If it works out, that's definitely a big move for the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, it's another lefty bat into the lineup. So they've kind of had that issue as of recently, where there's just so many lefties, and they really got to space out their righties. Usually only have two in there every day. Um, but I mean, yeah, he's still a guy who's going to help. Hopefully, um, hopefully it works out well. Hopefully it happens. And yeah, we try to wait for Justin Stanton after that. Carlos Rodon should be back as well within the next week. So, the team's slowly but surely getting healthy. and you just got to really hope that everyone who's playing well can continue that. And once these guys come back, it'll help boost the team, and hopefully we can see a really strong September.
Yeah, yeah, man. We'll see what happens. And I mean, this AL picture has been pretty wacky. So, and like all like just it's been very wacky. It's been very wacky when you consider the season that's happened. So, but honestly, just go from there. So, Yankees will be taking on who in their next series?
They play the Orioles next in Baltimore starting on Tuesday. And then right
So,
after that, they come home and play the Blue Jays again.
so it gets interesting now. It really gets interesting now, especially because those are the two teams that at one point were in the five-way tie, and now obviously the Orioles are currently in a playoff spot. So
Yeah, the Orioles have been playing really great as of late. I mean, kind of another team who's been playing better since the trade deadline. I mean, they just traded away a few pieces, Adley Rutschman being the biggest, who was obviously a top of the order catcher for them. But yeah, I mean, the Blue Jays are 2 games under 500, but they do still have a wild card spot. So that's going to be an interesting series for sure.
yeah, it's definitely an interesting series. I really am going to be curious to see what this leads to next.
Yeah,
But
for sure. And then Blue Jays again right after that. So it's going to be another 2 really big series in a row for the Yankees.
yeah, division rivals, but a chance to uh, close a gap in wild card standings as well. So honestly, so with that being said, is there anything else that you'd like to discuss today, Ryan?
No, we touched on everything I think we had to.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
think, so. Yeah, so I mean, I guess at the end of the day, my when I look at this playoff picture and I'm really just looking at it, what like who could even be this last team that makes the playoffs right now? Because they're really just like there's not a team I've looked at and I've said to myself, wow, they actually look pretty damn good. Because there's been teams that have been kind of subpar, good but not really like anything to impress. It's been very weird.
yeah. I mean, the Red Sox are up 5 games, holding on to their wild card spot. They've been playing really poor as of late after that crazy stretch of bunch of wins. So there's no guarantee that they hold on. I mean, of course, there's no guarantee the Yankees hold on, but it really just does not feel like it's likely that they'll lose their spot. But assuming those 2 teams do manage to, hold on, the third wildcard spot is really interesting. Like we just mentioned, the 5-way tie. The Orioles do have sole possession right now. But you have the Rangers, the Blue Jays, the Tigers, the Twins, and the Guardians all within at least a game and a half. And then there's the Mariners who are 3 games out. So, I mean, with a month and a half left, it's really tough to make a call now. But I mean, I would love for all these teams to stay in it. It'll be really
Yeah.
interesting to see this down the stretch, the way it works out. 5 teams, possibly 6, fighting for one spot. But if I had to make a call right now, I would definitely say the Blue Jays. I mean, that's a team who, like we mentioned in the last episode, we talked a little bit about them. They went to the World Series last year. They didn't really lose too much. Bo Bichette being the biggest piece that they lost since that team. But I mean, it's definitely a team who has dealt with a lot of injuries, underperformances this year. And if they can continue to play their brand of baseball, which is really annoying as a Yankees fan, but I mean, it works. They'll, they could very likely take that last spot. Who do you think,
So
though?
yeah, no, I mean, I think you know, it's a real toss up right now, man. I think it really just depends on who is playing hot at the end of the year. It's not about how you start, it's how you finish, right? So
For sure.
they they definitely, if they're gonna find someone to do what they want, they definitely gotta find the right, what's the word? Like I honestly, if I had to pick, it probably would be Baltimore right now, just because the
Hmm.
Baltimore, like when you look at their lineup could be really deadly. It's just their pitching is not the best, and I don't know if it'll really do them any favors if, in a wild card series. Um, but like honestly, like there's honestly a chance that another AL Central team is it. By how bad they've been. It could be another team like the Astros or the Mariners. Like it's like if the Mets were in the American League, they would only be 5.5 games out. So that just
Yeah,
shows
that's pretty crazy.
it shows just like how tight it's been. But with that being said, I think that'll do the episode. And but next episode will be hopefully recovering uh hopefully another Mets series win against the Padres. And then the Yankees will be either what were they doing?
They'll be hopefully winning a series against the Baltimore Orioles and
Yeah.
gaining some game in the AL East.
Yeah. So once again, with that being said, I think this is a wrap. Once again, this is Dylan, this is Ryan, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Yep. See ya. Let's go Yankees.
Let's go Mets.